Gotcha. What do you know about your grandparents? What do you know about your grandparents?
They were 3,000 miles away. We never saw them. I know they died in 1937. My mother's parents. I don't know when my father's people died because it wasn't. I guess it wasn't. We weren't aware of it.
Yeah. And they were from Ireland. Lived in Ireland.
Both of them. Her parents went back to Ireland, and she went back with them. And her sister was murdered over there. Her young sister was murdered. And she had a brother named John McDermott, and he was a New York policeman. He served 20 years, then he retired, and he lived in Queens, and then he moved out to New Hyde Park, and he died up there.
Now, how many brothers did you have?
I had 4 brothers. Raymond. There was 7 in the family. John Michael James, Raymond Gerard, Delone Winter, Francis Xavier, they're the twins. Myself, Edward Joseph, my youngest brother George Eugene.
And they were all redheads.
Well, my parents were redheads.
How about you, Grandma? What do you know about your grandparents?
Well, my grandmother Janet, she had 9 children, and I didn't get to know my grandfather Janet too much because he died when I was little. But Grandma Janet was like, get up and dance and that kind of person. We loved her. She was a good person. We really loved her. And she eventually came down to Washington. My Aunt Rita. My grandmother, Torpy, I liked her. She was a little different because she was not as, petty. But she was a good person. She was a little more strict than my grandmother Janet, So.
Now, which one?
Both were Irish.
Both were Irish.
Both were Irish.
Your Aunt Rita that I met, she was your mom's sister or your dad's?
Youngest sister.
Now, tell me about all of those kids. How many kids? There were 13?
What?
13 kids?
No, my grandmother Janet. No, 9.
9. And what were their names? Do you know what their names were?
Well, Pam was Mike, James, Thomas, John, my mother, Marguerite, Cecile, and maybe she had a problem. I don't know exactly what it was, but she wasn't, it was some sort of mental problem. Like couldn't walk and couldn't, I don't know what it was called, but, and then, yeah, but that's 8. There's one more. Did I say Jack, Anna? Mike, Jack, James, Thomas, Johnny, my mother, Seal,
Mary. Her name was Mary.
Yeah, Mary.
And then Rita.
Okay. Who's Patty?
Patty.
That's Ann Hughes. She married Joe Hughes. And that's their child. They had boy Joseph, who was an FBI agent that was killed in an automobile accident coming back from a hunting trip in Des Moines, Iowa,
And
along with 3 or 4 other FBI agents.
what about Patty?
Patty Hughes.
Yeah, she was.
She grew up in Hoosick Falls.
They moved to Springfield.
Yeah, then they moved to Springfield, Vermont. And she went to school up there, you know, and then
She had a job at the Senate
she
under Akers.
came down to Washington through my father and mother, you know, and got her down. And she did get a job working in the Senate. And she eventually, you know, married Chuck Colson. They're living down in Florida, and he's the one that started Prison Fellowship. And of course they're
Naples, Florida. In Naples, Florida.
right.
Oh, now tell me about your kids. Your children.
My children.
We had three rud rats in the mountain, curtain climber. We had 3 rug rats in the mountain climber.
And your mom is the oldest in the family.
And her name is, and the oldest is, say her name.
The oldest,
The oldest is Mary Anita,
yeah,
Next is
1954.
yeah,
and Beth,
1958. Patty, July 1st, 1959, and the worst storm we've ever seen.
and then Johnny.
May 6, 1959.
Tell me your finest memory of each child. Tell me.
There's a lot of, you know, good memories, but I just can't think of
No, not one, sir.
I have to sleep on it.
All right. Well, to be continued.
Yeah.